Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee and frequent guest hosts Hollis Lewis and Lisa Otey, where sports, culture, and community intersect. Join the crew as they dive into engaging conversations with guests from all walks of the sports life. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. And by the all-new historic Coyer Diner in downtown Charleston. Online at CoyerDiner.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk, and we're in the building, and my co-host Lisa Otey is available for us today. And unfortunately, Hollis is unable to make it today.
Yes.
And we've got some interesting
it's
topics. And
been an interesting day in
yes,
the world of sports.
Yes, it really has. It
Put it that way.
And let's talk. We'll open up with the whole gambling thing.
Okay.
And the backdrop to that, to me.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this. This is even better. Before you get into it, let's play the clip.
Okay,
from
that's right.
Cash
That's
Patel,
right.
the FBI director, who did the whole thing. So go ahead.
Okay.
Today, we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Casa Nostra. Individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches. This is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. We also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation. They perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just money, but the scheme and the deceit that they utilize to steal and swindle people for money.
Wow. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I felt like I was like in the middle of a Godfather movie, or maybe when they started naming all these crime families that were involved, I was like, this is like Goodfellas flashbacks. I mean, come on, Carl.
And
it's crazy.
Well, let me and what I can't really fathom is how did you get connected to that? You know, like if I'm a player, like how am I getting connected? Somebody's coming to me and asking me, "Are you willing to do this?" Okay, but I'm gonna kind of speak negative to from the NFL standpoint.
Okay,
and really from all sports who promote gambling, that their commercials are gambling, and you're gonna tell players you can't gamble. Okay,
yeah,
and now back in the day, I didn't have enough money that I was going to gamble. It wasn't worth. I couldn't afford to lose it.
Right.
Today, these guys got billions of dollars to where they can do this. You know, and
that invites a question from me. If you have that much money, why would you risk all of that? Even the thoughts of possibly going to prison for who knows how long. You don't mess with the FBI and their money, and the IRS and their money. I don't understand what possesses you to even risk for the little bit that they would make in these schemes, I would think.
And to your point of the amount being little, even if they were to let's say one night, 1 week, they might make, let's say, $100,000.
Right.
You know, now that has me in line, maybe. Like, how do I get in that line? But on the other side of it, these dudes should and have made millions of dollars.
Right.
So why would you risk your freedom and your reputation?
Your reputation, exactly. Your legacy.
Your whole legacy. I mean, it makes no sense to me.
No.
But I asked this question with no one in. I don't think we're going to be able to really answer it, but we can maybe comment about what the possibility is. Where do you meet that guy? Like, where do you meet that particular guy? Where's he at? He's not at the practice facilities.
I don't know.
He's not.
I don't know.
Well,
now that
back in my days,
you just said this though, Carl. You said now that you've got all of sports in bed with gambling platforms,
right? Well,
that just comes with it. That comes with the territory. These people are going to be more available. They're there to push their platforms, and along with the ones that are, I don't know how you can say clean gambling, but clean betting. You've also got the shady guys that come along with it.
I think some of it has to do with the way that the spectator experience has been upgraded over the years. This was a topic we had on Metro News Hotline with Dave Weekly last week. He was talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're going to come up with this club that is only open to 100 people, and it's something like $50,000 or $60,000 to be a part of it. But you're going to get all these benefits to go and see the game and be in the suites and stuff and do all that stuff. And I guarantee part of that is going to be meeting the players at some point.
Sure.
If you've got the money to afford that in the first place,
there's your connection.
You're going to be in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you're going to meet those players. And, what
there's
starts out as just a little conversation turns into hey, I got a money proposition for you.
Exactly.
And when you're a retired player and you hear something like that, you're going to be interested.
Sure.
Even to me, getting connected to the gentleman, his name is Buddy Becker, who is a guy who we do autograph stuff with, and
sure.
We'll talk maybe a little bit more about that later. But if he were to come to me and say, hey, would you be interested in, giving me your view of what you think the scores could be to this game, that game, and I'm going to go out there and place a bet. So let's say I do that. And he comes back and he says, hey, man, we won. We might want to just do this again. So now all of a sudden I'm the guy he's coming to.
Sure.
To talk to about what the potential scores and differences would be and how he should be betting. How long is that going to take for me to be betting on my own?
Yeah. See,
you know what I'm saying?
Like
at some point, I'm like thinking I got to be able to do this on my own.
Yeah, and just like Matt said, that they're finding creative ways to get to these players, and a lot of times innocently, when you create these clubs and things to let fans get a better experience at a game, then the bad can slip through the cracks and get in there to those players. And so I wanted to talk a little bit before we get any further about the type of problems or the type of things that they were doing that got them in this position. Of course, the three main people that they focused on today were Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, and he was taken into custody in Orlando. He was accused of telling members of a betting ring that he would leave a game early and allow them to wager on his prop bets with the knowledge he would not rack up stats. Now, for me, I had to look up prop bets because I am not a seasoned. I don't know gambling-ese, right? So basically, a prop bet, Carl, is short for proposition bets. And what it means is it's not so much win-loss, like you bet on a team to win or you bet on a team to lose. It's more like betting on like what he did. Like you might say this quarterback's going to have this much yardage in this game. You can bet on that.
Right.
You can bet on who's going to, throw the first touchdown. Are they going to go into overtime? It's more the circumstances
of the
game rather than the victory or the loss. So for these players to do things like let these gambling rings know, hey, I'm leaving. Think about the money that they can generate, with these people making prop bets about, his stats are going to be like this game. Well, he leaves early. Well, there's no way he's going to make that stat. So that was his problem. And then what blew my mind was with the other two, the Trailblazers head coach, Chauncey Billups, and Coach Damon Jones. He was a ex-Cleveland Cavaliers assistant coach. Their charges, listen to this, were related to sports betting poker games that were rigged. And if you dig deep into all these allegations, it will blow your mind how the money that they must have made and these people helped.
What is that? I mean,
poker machines. This is part of the allegations against all of these crime families. Like, there's rigged technology in casinos. Like, it goes deeper than just the NBA. This part of it, the prop bets.
But they were talking about how there was even like barcodes on cards at the poker table. You could zoom in and see that.
They had and extortion. Extortion was another piece of it, that's an ugly. That's got to be an ugly thing. Who knows what, but it's just so deep, and they've arrested I think like 34 people so far, but I guarantee you there's more to come.
There's definitely
this is going to, and it may transcend the NBA. It may go to other sports. I don't know.
Okay, so all of these terms and all that kind of stuff, which I have no working knowledge of what they were until
Gambling
today.
101,
Yes.
Carl. Gambling 101.
And what amazes me about that? How do you do that? Why would you want to do that with a game that you played? I'm assuming with some integrity, some goal setting of what you wanted to do, what you wanted to be. And let's assume that I did all that and I'm that thing that I wanted to be. And my next step is going into gambling. I lose all of that. I'm risking all of that career, all of that legacy for money that, do I really need it? Does any one of those guys really even need it?
And no, they don't. You're right. You don't. But here's the thing: if they're capable, if these families are capable, I mean, these are crime families.
Yes.
If they're capable of extortion, they may have given, and I hate to say this because it's kind of cliche, but they may have given them offers they couldn't refuse. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to do this, you need to do that, because this could be the consequence. I'm not saying that that's the truth. That's my own theory.
I think it's the sport of it too. As someone who is very minded in the mindset of being competitive
and winning,
yeah,
I think you take it from the game and you just move it to money. I think it's the same kind of addiction to winning, but just in a different realm,
different format.
And I think you're right, because I've heard players talk about this or that, whatever thing that they're in, that what they like about it is it's competitive, because the competitive side to a player, I think it becomes everything to you.
Right.
Now, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, for me, I love to play golf. I'm not very good at it. I can accept losing in that because I'm not very good at it.
We know.
She's fired, so we'll need another
I just
guest.
got fired again.
We'll need another guest.
Anybody want to be a host? Just apply here at WCHS.
But I don't know if I'm so competitive to a degree that I would risk taking that chance of the integrity of whatever integrity that I have on my name, whatever notoriety that I have to my name. Like, why would I risk that?
But during your time, it was taboo, and that you've got that mindset.
Well, now maybe in the NFL, but Pete Rose,
but it
was banned in 1989.
And it was taboo. That's what I'm saying. You could not do any sports betting, and now
you couldn't, but it went on.
Well, it went on, but what I'm saying is, it wasn't something that they would let slide. Put it that way.
Sure.
Because now we've got ESPN in bed with DraftKings or whoever, and
which I think is a problem.
Well, listen, today I had this is no lie. I had ESPN on. They broke the story, or it's been on a cycle all day, but they tell the story about what this whole this sports gambling thing going on, and then the very next segment they go to their sports betting segment, and they're talking about, well, this is a sure bet, and I'm saying, are you kidding me?
Why-
Like, somebody's producer needs to answer for that. Like, I think I would have put that a little further away from the story, but okay.
Well, let me ask this question. Okay, so one, you bring on NBA players, you bring on all these star players to be host, co-host, and guest, and all of that, and you're tying them into something that is basically, whether they're former players or what, you're adding on to something that could be detrimental to them. So how can I go to ESPN and be on the show and all they're talking about is gambling?
I know.
Well,
come on.
That's their job.
In this
though.
industry, I mean, you get these national buys from ad agencies, and so long as the ads are within the gambling laws of the state that they're airing, they've paid for it, so we have to air it. Same thing with programming. It's like ESPN programming, or even like a local station here. You sell what's called like a benchmark, and that'll be like a certain segment within a show, and then you go out and you find a sponsor. Same thing as how your podcast has sponsors. You can sponsor those segments, and so you get these DraftKings and BetMGM and all that.
It's not a good look, though.
It's become lax. It's become all of the money now.
I mean, it doesn't shock me. I mean, we've talked about this on the show before, but we never dreamed that this would break to this extent.
To where, yes, we could actually say
this is
it's
criminal.
This is the NBA, and these folks are likely to go to jail.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and they're notable people.
Yep.
They're facing charges. Yes, they're and they've both been placed on leave, but we know where that. And of course, let's look at how this affects the NBA. Let's have that conversation, because we know viewership has not been great.
Right.
The past 10 years, it's been on a decline. It really has. Guys can disagree with me.
No, I think you're right. Absolutely.
And so the NBA, I can't. I'm going to paraphrase what their statement was about the whole situation, but they said they're reviewing the whole situation, cooperating with the FBI, and they want their top priority is the integrity of the game. Well, I think that ship's kind of sailed right now. I don't know if they can repair this, especially if it goes deeper than what we're seeing right now.
Well, it would be almost like, like maybe like a steroid issue or a drug issue or whatever. It happens. Somebody gets caught doing whatever.
Right.
They're caught red-handed, so everybody's talking about them. All that the league or the organization wants to do is basically kind of separate themselves from that person and say, so Lisa was doing that really, I know she was a player, but she's doing that on her own, and we want to be over here, and we're going to start putting some commercials on that is going to be anti this, anti that, and that's
to
the
kind
way
of buffer the whole
so that
thing.
we can kind of get ourselves a fresh slate. No, you can't get it. I
don't think so.
See, I don't think you can get it.
There's 4 teams they implicated, right? There are 4 teams that they said probably had more ties, and those were the Nuggets. I'm sorry, the Hornets, the Raptors, Trailblazers, of course, their head coach, and then the Lakers.
Ooh.
Lakers are on that list. It's a short list.
But that's where your biggest money is in the league right now.
But I mean
LA.
that kind of raises eyebrows, right? I mean, you're right. It does. That's money.
I like the way you described it, though, as kind of like a drug issue, because in a way, I mean, it's sort of that same
people get hooked on
thing.
it.
Yeah. The thing I think you're gonna. I think the league, if they want to maintain any sense of the game, there's going to have to be expulsions.
Oh,
we're going to have to say, okay, if you indictments are one thing, but if they're proven guilty,
right,
you've got to say you no longer have a place in the NBA as a coach, as a player. You're out. You're done. That's it.
I'm going to counterpoint what you just said about the addiction. I know that some of the athletes actually have problems with making bets. That's part of a gambling addiction. We're talking about someone that lets these gambling, groups or whatever you want to call families, the crime families, know when they're leaving a game, or know that this is going to happen. That's not an addiction. That's just kind of shady in my book. Like that's
making money.
That's making money.
Yeah, that's straight making money.
That's outside of like a gambling problem, isn't it? I don't know.
I think so.
I would think so.
And that's why I go back to my point about maybe these crime families. I mean, it'll all come out. It's going to come out eventually, and I think there's going to be way more coming out in the future. But I mean, I think that maybe some of these crime families may have put some pressure. They may have had some dirt on some of these players, you don't know, and said, "Hey, you need to cooperate with us." And
I mean, if we've seen anything in the news this year, it's that there have been some really crazy parties with celebrities and athletes that have been going on for a while.
Yes.
Amen.
That's a really
and they could have that. They could have
a great point
hanging over somebody's head.
Yes. Because when you get connected with somebody, like I said, I'm connected with a guy who helps me make money, signing autographs and all that kind of stuff. So somebody else says, well, you know what? I got a better way. If you just do this or do that, I can double that money for you and guarantee that you can make it. What's my first thing? What is it? Now the question then becomes, when he says it and I can see that there's something wrong with it, if I accept it, I'm accountable. I'm straight up accountable. I should be smart enough to turn that away, because I know if there's any chance of getting caught, I don't want it. I just don't want it. It's too much, man.
It's dirty.
Yeah, it is.
And here's the thing too. It's even over the decades, it's a very small pool of people. So there's going to be connections everywhere. There's only been about 5,000 players in the NBA since its inception. The NFL, only 25,000. That's over the whole entire length of the NFL. There's only been 25,000 players.
That's crazy, because you think more.
Well, you would, but that does make you realize real quick, you've got a connection to one guy who's probably got a connection to somebody who's got the. I mean, it's not that far of a separation between you and this.
If I can get you, then I can get Lisa.
Yeah.
That in my mind, the guy who's talking to me about, hey, you know these people, some certain people that you can maybe bring into it with, and I'm like thinking, well, yeah, I do. I got a couple right there at the station. I can probably talk to them. Next thing you know, you're thinking, well, who do I know?
Mm-hmm.
Lisa's thinking about, who do I know?
Yeah.
So
that's why I think this list will grow. I don't think
time.
this is the end of it. And I think it's going to get uglier. And I think there's going to be some more recognizable names that come out that it won't be pretty. I also read, and then we can do whatever, but I also read an article, a lawyer kind of summarized what the allegations of the FBI, what their findings were. And basically he had three points. And the first point was NBA players and coaches were a crucial part, plural, did you hear that? Mm-hmm. Coaches and players were a crucial part of both alleged rings. They were sources of information for bettors who put money on prop bets. They also released non-public information about who wasn't playing in games. And like I said, 34 were arrested. So that was the other part of it. But it just blows my mind that it has gotten to this point, and how long the FBI had been actually investigating
right.
it. I mean, this has been going on for quite some time.
But who's the 34? Who are the I mean, what role did they play? And who are they?
It's a $1 million question.
What
right?
makes me what makes me think? What comes to my mind? If I'm the coach, and I'm involved in it, who else would I want to try to get involved with? I would try to. I'm going to need my star.
Okay, so it looks like Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, Damon Jones were the three inside the NBA, and then the other 31 defendants include members and associates of organized crime families. So it's only a few folks from the league,
but there's more.
Far.
Yes,
so far.
But see, okay, so let's say I'm doing it, and Lisa's a friend of mine, and she's in the league too, and I'm thinking this is a good deal. So, at some point, I had to have talked to her about it. I don't think I'm going to keep that a secret. Then I'm going to talk to you about it, or Lisa's going to talk to you about it. Say, hey, has Carl talked to you about this? You know, I just don't know how, just from my inside thought process of locker room talk, hanging out talk, association
with everybody.
Yes, with everybody that you have. I just don't see me thinking like I'm going to hold this to myself because I can make more money. The more people I can get under me, I can make money.
I personally think in these situations, I feel like more times than not, people are actually just real out in the open about it. They're not really actually secretive at all.
That may be true, too.
Well, they've made it to that it doesn't feel like it's wrong. I mean, like I said, you turn on ESPN or whatever, and gambling is not shunned. I mean, it's part of all sports.
Well, and
really.
I think once you get to that certain level, you can be a little bit more open because even though you're being open about it, you're still in a tight circle.
Yes.
Right,
you're still
right.
in a controlled environment because you're in professional sports. So that, I think, is going to limit the exposure to and again, I think you can be open in that situation because everyone else that knows kind of what's going on, they're in it too.
So Sterling just commented live on my video for Facebook. He's not going to call in, Sterling. He's just going to comment. Love you. I'll read what he said, though. He said, no, the athletes just made mistakes. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, they are huge mistakes, but unfortunately, they're mistakes they're going to pay for.
Poor judgment.
Poor judgment for sure. And I think the influence, I mean, like I said, I think that we've kind of just been going down this path of destruction by little allowing the gambling platform as becoming part of the norm of sports. I just feel like that was the first mistake before the athletes made mistakes.
I just feel like what would make you first? What would make you start? What would make you even get into some racket like that? Like, why are you sitting around and trying to figure out, like, well, let me gamble, because there's gambling that you can do, but you already know you can't gamble on sports. You already know you were in the sport, so you can't gamble and you can't make those bets.
I just think they're so inundated with it. I mean, I think that, and it's so easy. I mean, it's not like it used to be where you had to go out on the street and meet a person to make a bet or go to the casino. I mean, you just pick up your phone.
But you could sign you could sign your name. You could probably go somewhere and sign your name and make that kind of money.
I think people are either a gambler or they're not. I mean, like, for me personally, I'm not a gambler. I get nothing out of it.
I get nothing out of it either.
But I know for some people, there's a thrill in it. And just because you can't bet on, if you're a professional athlete, just because you can't bet in sports or in your sport, I mean, you can still be a gambler.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just
so
like
if you
that.
need to get that fix, you can get it somewhere else.
And I think that it's an easy bridge to cross now because, like you mentioned, we've
it's
made
everywhere.
it so much easier.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah.
Well, tell Sterling I totally disagree with him. And if he wants to debate,
you're fired too, Sterling. You're
yes,
fired.
I need to get him off this.
You and I are going to meet each other in the unemployment line.
We're going to take a quick break here, but let him know we're going to change the number, and I'm going to force you to change your number or I'm going to fire you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
All right, cats and kittens, have you heard? The Warrior Diner is back. Step into the classic vibe of one of Charleston's most historic restaurants. Don't miss the daily Blue Plate specials. Breakfast served all day, every day, and free parking. With an outdoor patio covered for the summer, an elegant basement bar, and customizable event space, 1022 Warrior Street offers an experience unlike any other. Open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit WarriorDiner.com for all the need to know and relive the good times at the Warrior Diner.
Let's face it, bad things happen to good people. Seriously injured in a car accident, trucking accident, or even wrongfully arrested. Life happens, and when it happens to you, you will need sound legal advice and aggressive representation. That's when you call attorney Frank Walker at 304-413-0179. That's 304-413-0179. Lock it in your phone, text it to a friend. 304-413-0179. Or visit online at attorneyfrankwalker.com.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker and the all-new historic Coyer Diner. Comment on episodes, ask the crew questions, or suggest topics on our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation. Subscribe by searching Let's Talk with Carl Lee on your favorite podcast service and tune in Thursday evenings at 7 or Sunday nights at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee. This is Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Now back to the conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so we're going to switch subjects, and Lisa, this subject is really it's not one that I'm really happy about to discuss. Really, one of the best players that I think I've ever really seen in my life, and for sure as a defensive back, his name was Joey Browner, and I think a lot of people remember the family of the Browners, who all kind of played football and different sports. I was in Minnesota for the game last weekend, and I saw some pictures of him.
Yeah.
And Joey was like about a 6'3", 6'4", 230, 240 strong safety that can run and could take on a lot.
He was a legend.
He was a legend.
Vikings.
Like he was so talented. And
well, can I give a little background?
Yes.
Because I know when you mentioned your friend to me, it took me a minute. I had to kind of go back and look up, the things. I was shocked, and we had this conversation before we came on the air about why he hasn't been on the ballot to the Hall of, National Football Hall of Fame. But he was a Vikings, like you said, defensive back from 1983 to 1991. Played college for USC.
Mm-hmm.
He was selected 19th overall in the first round of the 1983 NFL draft, and he was selected to 6 Pro Bowls. Carl, how many?
3.
He had 6.
Yes.
Oh, I just want to make sure you clarified that. And since I'm fired anyway, he amassed over 1,100 total tackles in his career with the Vikings, caused 18 fumbles, recovered 16 of them, and led the Vikings in 9 defensive categories over his career. So he is a very established, storied Viking player.
And it's
unbeknownst to me until I looked it up, but I was amazed.
And maybe for a lot of people, but when you start talking about Ronnie Lott, Kenny Easley, some of those, safeties back in the day, Joey came in and became one of those guys during his era.
Sure.
And one of the things that I can remember was, Joey was a really mild-mannered kind of a guy, and he just played.
Right.
Like he was just a reactor to the play. We changed, or not we, but the Vikings changed how the strong safety played and made him almost really like a linebacker.
Sure.
And he'd be covering basically tight ends and people like that more so than wideouts when we'd be playing man to man. But he was so amazingly physical that I don't even know in today's game. Like I don't even know if he could fit today's game.
He couldn't fit the schemes.
He was just too.
Or the penalty, he would get a lot of penalties.
He'd get a ton of penalties. He'd get thrown out. He'd
targeting
get thrown out.
and all those things. Yeah,
he'd pick people up. He'd throw them down, And if you walked up on him, like he'd throw 3 or 4 or 5 punches in a row without like even thinking.
Right.
He was just
reactive.
He was reactive. And I'm telling you, when we were talking when I was in Minnesota this past weekend, like it was one thing to hear it, but then somebody showed me like 2 pictures of him, and one of them was like he didn't have a shirt on, which I have no idea why he would not have a shirt on and taking a picture other than to make the case. This is how he looked, right? And you know, I can't even tell you, like he was probably, I'm telling you, kid you not, like he was probably as thin as you. Wow. Like yeah. What's
going on? Yeah.
You know, and I heard there was a whole lot of back talk about different things and how he got to this place and how I guess maybe people helped him to get to this bad place. But, you know, I don't have any facts behind that, so I don't really want to speak on that. But but more so just, you know, when players get in this situation, I think management, ownership should really play a major role.
Absolutely.
You know, I think, you know, whatever the NFL...
You dedicated the best years of your life, your health, your all of it, and probably, maybe, we don't know. Like we said, you're not going to speculate, but there's a possibility that it's related to past play in the NFL.
Yes.
And they should just step up their game.
Even if you don't know that.
Right.
Even if you don't know
Even
that.
if you don't know that.
Here's a player that has, you know, spend his life in your organization. You get to have claimed him as a great player, and now he's in a very difficult situation.
So you don't feel like the Vikings have stepped in at all?
I don't know.
I do know Tommy Kramer did a fundraiser.
Yes.
Last, I don't know, a couple months ago.
Yes.
Sold some memorabilia that was going to go toward his care.
There were quite a few of the guys who stepped in, and again, that was I'll give props to Buddy Becker. He did that. He's not affiliated at all with the Vikings.
Yes,
he's just
that's on his own.
That's just on his own.
Yeah.
He's just a super good guy, and he knows Joey somewhat well. And he wanted to make sure that he had some place to where he could go and be taken care of. And so he created that or raised that money for him. But I'm telling you, like it's kind of still bothering me a little bit inside, because like this was a guy that was probably one of the best players I'd ever been on a team with.
Right.
You know, one of the best defensive backs, safeties that I may have ever known. And I didn't play with Ronnie Lott, and I didn't play with none of those kind of guys, Kenny Easley and all those. But I knew what he could do.
Sure.
And now to sit here and have to realize, you know, maybe what his fate is, you know, like, and I, like I said, I don't really know where the family is. I don't know where their involvement in taking care of him.
Sure.
But
I'm sure if he's that, you know, that ill, that catastrophic illness, that it's probably just taken on, you know, how it is with healthcare. I mean, it's probably been a bit huge expense just to get him taken care of. The family may be involved and just ran out of money. I mean, it's just a sad situation.
And I feel like, isn't this sort of one of the things that the Players Association and former players have really been fighting for? I mean, I think the bulk of the spotlight has been on brain injuries and memory loss and things like that. But I think we're also finding that there's a lot of other health issues that have come from playing, especially, you know, 30, 40, 50 years ago, that for one, I don't think medical technology was really there.
Right.
There weren't as many doctors on the sidelines the way they have them now. There's not all these protocols that they have in place now to take someone out of the game if they suspect an injury.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of, I mean, this is like a prime example of what I think there's work that has been done. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done.
And I think the work that needs to be done can be done if we just decide to.
Yeah.
And I think the problem to me, and the work of what work needs to happen, is you have to take care of that particular player. You don't just you can give him $1, that's fine, that'll help. But you have doctors that you have appointed for this and for that and for this and for that. Send him to that doctor. Have that doctor send the bill to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
When
it's
you
almost
get
like
into,
they've forgotten the past, like, players. Like, you guys are just kind of, you were there. I mean, you were there when the league was really building its name and getting to this point that it is today. And then you guys are just kind of left in the shadows when it comes to this kind of stuff.
I think everything that you're giving us, I think everybody's thankful. I think every player's thankful.
I'm sure you are.
But on the other side of it, it is, when you really think about it, it's really small. Like it's
compared to today.
Today, in what you're paying you're paying a 6-digit last round pick.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to pay him 6 digits.
Right.
And you can't tell me that you don't have the funding to help players out who are have a medical issue that could likely drain you of your money, any money that you could have had, or a situation where, like this particular situation with Joey, where his whole life is in an uproar because of his situation.
Right. Have they? And you may not be able to answer this question, Carl, but has anyone reached out to the team and to the organization and said this is going on with this player? And
I think someone has contacted
I'm
the
just
league.
curious.
I think somebody has contacted the league. But I think I would like to hope that the Vikings would know.
Yes.
Now, can they get to him? Will somebody try to, make that work so that there's a conversation or talking about him? To me, I'd like to think that one of my family members, I'd like to think that if Donna said something was going on,
she would reach out.
She would reach out to somebody and try to figure out how to, what can I do? I need to do this.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Joey has been close enough to some of the family members that's around now to where for them to even know. And I think I think the hardest part about that type of situation for a spouse is you don't know.
Right.
There's so many different organizations and mail that you get. You're looking at it and you're like, oh, what is this? I don't even
and
know
you're
what
just
that
overwhelmed.
Is. Yeah.
You're just overwhelmed with everything.
Yeah.
With the illness, with the bills, with just everything that comes with it. Right.
And when you get to that point, there's no space for you to spend time trying to look something up.
No.
Where do I look? There's got to be an 800 number to this, or there's got to be an 800 number to that.
Yeah.
You're just like every day, you're trying to get me out of bed. You're trying to get me dressed. You're trying to get me showered.
You're in survival mode.
Yeah, you're in survival mode.
Yeah.
And I really don't, and I really don't know that people understand. This is on a track to get worse with current players. And I hate to say it, but there's a reality that this is only going to get worse. This is not going to get better.
Right.
All the helmet safety that you can create.
Right. When you take so many hits, it's just natural. I mean, you're going to have some issues later on down the road. Your head and your brain are not supposed to really do what football does. Right.
And it's.
So they need to. The league kind of, what you're saying is the league kind of needs to look at the future players and say, and former players, and say, we need some type of protocol in place when someone has a catastrophic injury or a catastrophic illness that may or may not be related to the game. They were our players, just like an employee of a company or a business. They have an obligation to help you get through whatever it is that or get the resources that you need, whether it's treatment or paying the costs that come along with it, with that type of illness. They need to be active in that.
Absolutely. And on top of that, when you start talking about the professional ranks, you start talking about the college ranks. Now, you look at the college ranks and look at the kind of money they're giving for NIL.
Right. I mean, the money's there.
Yeah, the dudes are happy to get that NIL, but it's what happens, though, if you get the NIL money and you forget even who you are, where to go, how to move around. What's that money good for?
Yeah.
You know, and so my
Can't
thing
put
is,
a price on health.
No, you cannot. And to me, I just think that at the collegiate level and at the professional levels, there has to be work. There has to be work to try to fix, to try to solve, to try to. There should be study after study after study of ways to prevent it, stop it, whatever.
Address it. Just address it.
Just address it. Put out some kind of what I would say true effort to address it.
Yeah.
Because you're not saying anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're not like. I would like for the Vikings to say it in public in Minneapolis and say, you know, this is what's going on with Joey Brown, and we're doing some things to try to help him, and because there are people who would show up,
sure,
and do things for him, help him with. Just like your former players that know him, like Yes.
Tommy Kramer, you know, they're pitching in, they're trying to, you know, help him. In fact, who was the player we had on, and I think he mentioned this situation. I can't remember, but I remember him talking about I don't know, I can't remember. So
you would think a league that makes over $20 billion a year.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Could afford something. I mean, I was just looking up some of the money stats for the NFL with the broadcast and media deals between 2022 through 2033. It's over $110 billion in guaranteed revenues.
At the least, the owners should be responsible.
So you couldn't pull
for their
$1 billion.
players.
So you couldn't come out with $1 billion to potentially house somebody or pay their medical bills or something.
When the way you were talking about it earlier too, it kind of got me thinking about why is there not like a specific
Fund?
medical program for NFL players where if
like an insurance
type?
type?
If something gets beyond something that they can just go to their local hospital wherever they live and deal with. If something has become so
and
severe.
we have, and here's the thing, we have insurance, which is good.
Yeah.
You know, as a former player, I can, you know, and I have reimbursement money, you know, for any of the payments that I have. It's a one-time payment, okay? And it's not a
enough.
lot. You know, if I had a surgery, let's say I had a knee surgery, I'm probably going to be about halfway through that money before I get well.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's gone.
Unfortunately, that's a reflection of healthcare in
that
the
is
nation.
A bigger issue. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just it's a thing that needs to be addressed globally. So, I'm sorry about your friend. I really am.
Yeah,
That's tough.
It's gut wrenching, and it's scary because you know you just don't know like who's next.
Right.
And then on bringing up Tommy, you know, Tommy Kramer has been, you know, he has been an alcoholic since I've known him, since we played together.
Mm-hmm.
And he's finally off of it.
Oh.
And he's been off now maybe 6 or 7 months, I think, maybe.
Wow.
And he looks so much better.
Yeah.
Still doesn't talk a whole lot. He'll laugh. He's moving around better. He's not as slow as he was before.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this family, the Becker family, has done so much for him. Like he stays there with them. He would have no place to go.
Wow.
He lives there with them. No pay. You know, doesn't pay anything. He gets his meals.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I don't want to say it's like a child, but he's like a third party in the household.
Yeah.
And who does that?
Right.
You know, who's going to do that for him? If if not them, then who?
It's a good way to sum it up. If not them, then who?
Well, that is the big question.
Yeah.
That is the big question, really.
It's
And he's the biggest
line.
guy. He's the biggest guy at every signing that we go to.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Oh, it's Tommy Kramer."
Yeah. Yeah.
He signs his name same way he used to.
Yeah.
It's a little bit slower, but it's the same autograph.
Same way.
And I'm telling you,
Well, that's now that you mentioned him, I wanted to bring up something I was exploring when I looked at it. I kind of went down a rabbit hole. Imagine that. Never happens when you're on the internet, right? So I get on there and I looked up about your friend, and then it sent me to a link about Tommy Kramer. And so then when I look over to the corner, there was another link to it said sports legends, and it was. Vikings, you guys. And so I clicked on it and I went through the players, and lo and behold, there's Carl Lee. And I said, well, why haven't you talked about this? What you guys do in this organ? I don't know what you call it, like a club, an organization, but can you tell us just a little bit about how you're involved with the sports legends?
Well, it's more so a term that they use for retired players.
Yeah. Do most teams have this? Or just the Vikings?
I think I don't know. I've never heard it from anybody else.
Okay. Okay.
But I know that the Vikings. You get referred to that way almost everywhere you go. Like these are the Viking legends.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
That's
so
the
it's like
introduction.
A club.
Yeah. It is like a club.
Elite club.
Well, anybody who has retired, anybody who's there present, you're going to get that. That's going to be a term that you're going to get. Mm-hmm. I've got tons and tons of shirts that have like legends, Viking legends and stuff like that.
Wait a minute. Hello. Where's our shirt, Matt?
Because you and I aren't legends.
That's right. I'm sorry. Shoot.
See, I bought my grandson a sweat top while I was up there. Uh-huh. And it just has Minnesota Vikings because they
can't give him a legend shirt.
Can't give him a legend
yet.
Yeah. At least yet anyway. We don't know.
There you go.
Hopefully, maybe sooner or later we'll be able to do that.
There you go.
But yeah, the whole Tommy Kramer thing, man. I just think that it's everywhere around the league. I'm sure almost every team has someone or a host of players who are in a very tough situation. And yet they, some kind of way, grace of God, they find themselves back into a good situation.
Yeah.
But it takes people who care.
Absolutely.
It takes people who care. The Beckers, when you got a place to stay, a place to take a bath, take a shower, eat, all those kind of things
matters.
It matters.
Huge.
Watch games. He's a huge gamer. Like he loves to watch football games, and so he's sitting there and eating and watching the game, and it's like, and again, the crazy thing, like he doesn't say a word watching the game. He doesn't critique. He doesn't talk to you. He doesn't say like, "Oh, see, Lee, that was a bad play."
Yeah.
He says nothing.
It's a strong silent type.
It's a strong silent type. And he's getting a little bit better because he smiles and he laughs now.
Now, was that this past weekend you were talking about?
Yes,
you were hanging out with?
Yes,
okay.
We got a chance to hang out. And,
great.
So I'm thinking long term, like this is really going to help him get really, really better going forward.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah, just keep him supported.
Yes.
It's always good
and
to have
like I
support.
said, he's got a great support team.
Yeah.
With the Beckers, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, you want to talk about where I'm going Sunday night? A little bit.
I think his eyes just rolled out of his skull.
We're done with the show, aren't we?
I think we have about 5 minutes. We could squeeze in a little talk.
We could squeeze in a little talk. Okay, so For everybody who's listening, Lisa's going somewhere.
I'm actually going to the Sunday night football game, the Steelers-Packers.
Oh.
My girlfriend and I bought tickets today. We've planned this. We planned this trip for forever. Like we went. I think it was about 2 years ago. The Packers went up there and they lost to this. We went to that game as well. But we saw this on the NFL schedule and we circled it. Like we're ready. We're ready to roll. So
You mean you actually have a friend that's a Packer fan too?
Oh no, she's a Steelers fan.
Okay. I
No,
figured. I didn't think you could find two of you.
Oh my gosh! I knew he had to get that dig in.
You know, I'm jealous because I've never been to a Packers game.
Never, not even away.
No.
Wow,
No.
this would have been the perfect opportunity. It's not a bad drive.
I know. I've been to several NFL games, but never for the Packers.
Okay, I've been to Lambeau once, and that was
been to Lambeau,
really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's different. That's an experience.
Yeah,
there.
that's a whole thing. But it's kind of going to be cool because the game is all about the hype around it. Of course, it's the only game on Sunday night, and also just the idea of Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers playing each other because it's like the teacher-student kind of like vibe.
And to that point, a lot of times you'd like to think that the student comes out better.
I don't know.
My thought process. Okay, if I'm being taught something, like I'm thinking, okay, I want to come out of this thing and I want to be better than the guy who's teaching me.
Sure. There's that competition, of course.
As much as I appreciate it, I want to be better than them.
Yeah. It's a motivator.
And so you don't think like that's gonna
Well, I mean, I think the media has kind of built up a lot of hype about this being a revenge game, because in 2020, whenever the Packers drafted Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers was not happy. A lot of fans weren't happy. We thought he needed some, the organization needed to draft some receivers to help him out, and
they needed a backup
happen.
quarterback.
Well, now but fast forward to now, to the present moment, yes, that was the best thing that could have happened to the Packer organization. But, it was just strange because, the media is trying to build up this, calling it, a revenge game, and that, it's going to be, a lot of animosity on the field. And Aaron Rodgers kind of came out lately, in press conferences with him and said, you know what, I don't have any animosity toward this team. Like, I'm good with it. I'm happy to see some guys and it's not that way at all. So I don't know. We'll see. I think what they say and what they really feel is two different things.
Yes.
Okay.
So when I went to the Saints, fortunately or unfortunately, we ended up playing the Vikings. And I want to say it was a preseason game, actually.
Uh-huh.
And for me, everything in my mind, this is a game. And for everybody who I've covered in one-on-ones in practice, I'm going to shut them down. That's just, it's just, I don't think you can get cut from a team and it be okay. Especially and then play them, and because you already know everybody that's going to cover you or whatever the case may be, whatever your position is, you know who they are. You know how good, you know their flaws, you know all of that.
Yeah.
So you're going to use every piece of that to get back at them.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good point. But the defense is also. I mean, I don't know how many of the players. I mean, I think we've still got quite a few, but they're going to kind of know Aaron's moves too. So it goes both ways. But right?
And yes, and there's age there too.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a great game. I'm hoping it is anyway.
And to be honest, it really should.
I'm not wearing my Cheez-It.
I don't think it should be really a quarterback topic game. I really don't think it should be because again, the
media's made it that way.
Yeah, and I don't think that's really what's going to win or lose it.
I'll be when I roll in next Monday for the podcast. We'll see what I look like and feel like and all that.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to you coming back.
If I have a job.
Yeah. You call me before you come in, okay? Just to make sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will get back to you next week, maybe. All right, we're out of here.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker and the all-new historic Quarrier Diner. Comment on episodes, ask the crew questions, or suggest topics on our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee, and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation. Subscribe by searching Let's Talk with Carl Lee on your favorite podcast service, and tune in Thursday evenings at 7 or Sunday nights at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee.